Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Look, if you are a software engineer, you know it's not about writing just great code anymore. Especially if you are in a mid to senior level, like I have been for over a decade. It's about consistently delivering impact, staying efficient amidst constant change, and then making sure that your skill set stays sharp. Because let's be real, tech is a field where it just keeps evolving faster than almost any other field. And it's already 2025, we are already past 5% of the year, which is just running really fast. But in the last couple of weeks, I have been doing some retrospection like I do every year, where I look up my old goals for the last year, see what works, see what didn't, and then try to formulate a plan to work along that. And this year as well, I have put together a set of 5 principles. So it's like a blueprint that I plan to follow to make sure that I'm consistently crushing my goals and then evolving as a really good software engineer. And I wanted to share it with you. So it's not just a theory, it's basically based on all the success I have faced, and my experience from over the last few years. And I really think it can also be helpful for you. So if you are ready to level up your engineering game, let's go in and do this. All right, let's talk about pillar number 1. And this is something I have learned the hard way over the last few years. It's planning. And as engineers, we are absolutely amazing at solving problems, but honestly, we are terrible at prioritizing them. I remember even in Uber, I think a few years back, we were working on this huge project and we thought we are making a lot of progress by writing a lot of code. But then, the chaos hit, like dependencies problem. There were a lot of constraints that we didn't plan for, and the whole thing just fell apart. And that's why I realized I think the structural planning is very important. And no wonder there is a lot of project management tools that are worth billions of dollars. And hint, I work for one such company. But putting that aside, I want you to think beyond to-do list. And for 2025, I'm going to double down on this. So it can either be an analog method. You need something like a personal knowledge management system, right? And it can be something like this analog bullet journal. So I've been doing this from last 9 years now, and this is my 2024 journal. If you look at this, there is a lot of notes, a lot of stapled places, a lot of post-it notes. And I think this is my new 2025. So let me know if you want to know more about my system. I would be happy to make a video. But it can either be analog, it's tactile, it's focused, and I think writing something down on a piece of paper helps make those memory connections, and it works really well for me. Or you can also look into digital way. So there is a very neat app called Obsidian. It's like a personal knowledge management system where you write a bunch of things in Markdown, notes, you can piece them together, connect them, and then form this whole personal Wikipedia kind of a system. And the key here is to capture everything. So capture your task, break down your architecture, put like anything that you learned while solving a bug report, maybe a new code pattern, design pattern that you learned, and then find ways how you can link them, right? Forming some sort of like neural connections, but between your nodes. And this is the whole second brain method. I think you can Google about that. It's a very popular methodology of organizing your digital life. But the key is to do something, right? So I think I would urge you to get started, pick up a notebook, a pen, and just start writing down. I think plan your weekly goals. And then every Friday, maybe at 2 p.m., schedule like 15-20 minutes, go over your goals, see what you have been able to achieve, and see what worked for you, what did not, and just throw it away if something doesn't work for you, and then plan the next week better. And this shorter feedback loop is very crucial, as it will allow you to not stray farther away from the correct path and then achieve your goals. So moving on to pillar number 2, which I think is non-negotiable for any software engineer who wants to stay relevant: continuous learning. Yeah. See, the harsh truth of today is most software engineers that I know, they just stop reading after reading tutorials, and that doesn't work, right? You need to form mental models and not just learn syntax. And to think of it, like when I started my career, Java used to be the only game in town for enterprise applications. And today you can see we have so many options like Go, Kotlin, and even there is so much rewrite happening in Rust. Right? And the field we work in, tech, it evolves so quickly, it's in constant flux. And one of my leads in Adobe used to say that if you're not reading for 6 to 12 months, you will soon become a dinosaur. And I'm not saying this to scare you, but I'm trying to motivate you. And scrolling Twitter, Hacker News, and YouTube Short, it doesn't count because you're not being intentional. right? And it's very difficult if you're not intentional about your learning. It's very difficult to recall anything when you need it, right? So for 2025, I am committing to reading at least one technical book per month, and also picking up something non-technical on the side to expand my horizon of thinking. And I just finished reading this really nice book called Algorithms to Live By. A very fascinating read. It changed the way of how I think about problem solving. And I'm also reading this interesting book called Humans Need Not Apply. This is a really nice viewpoint on a guide to wealth and work in the age of artificial intelligence. So check that out. But as I said, the idea is you need to think of it as a meeting. Schedule some time. Don't set unrealistic goals like I will read 20 books in a year. Maybe set a simple goal starting with that you will read from 15 to 30 minutes every day, and then block that time and be intentional about it. Finding resources in this age is very easy. Yeah? You can even ask ChatGPT to do that for you, but you will have to put in the work and do the reading for that. And I'm also planning to commit to learning new technologies as well alongside this. So you need to make sure that your learning and reading is supplementing the action that you can take on that. And you have to understand that reading isn't just passive. It's basically just absorbing the ideas from people more smarter than you and then making it your own. And think of it as investing it in your one of the most critical tools, your brain. Yeah. So moving on to pillar number 3. It's something that I have seen consistently differentiate between engineers who progress rapidly and versus the engineers who do not. It's basically becoming a creator, not just a consumer. And it is very easy to get stuck in this hellhole of reading blogs, looking at conference talks, but not doing anything about that, right? And the growth comes from actively building and sharing. So for this year, I'm making a conscious effort of trying to contribute a lot more to open source projects, but also actively documenting and sharing that. And trust me, it's basically a way for you to give back to community while building a very important skill set that is very relevant for you at work. Because if you have worked in any startups or any small scale companies, you know the tribal knowledge is one of the white elephants that nobody likes to talk about, but everyone suffers due to that. Because when there is just one engineer who knows about some project and then you're stuck and then you try to message them, but maybe they're out of office and now you cannot do anything about that. In tech, it is also called the bus factor, right? Like if tomorrow I was to be hit by a bus, will I end up blocking up my team about that? It's a bit dark, but that's how it is. So try to document your projects a bit more thoroughly. Your future self and your peers will thank you. And I think of countless times, when I have been struggling with implementing a design pattern, or maybe I'm stuck with a problem specific to my dev environment. It has always been that one Reddit post or a Stack Overflow answer, or some source that has written by another engineer that ended up helping me. So think of it as like that. It helps build your personal brand and then helps the community. And this is true even in the ChatGPT era, because remember, your ChatGPT has a knowledge cutoff date, and since tech is ever evolving, it still needs some data to train itself on, and that data input has to come from somewhere. So engineers like us have to go ahead and document that for the benefit of larger good. So yeah, action item for you. I think your GitHub profile and your blog are AI proof. It proves that you can think and not just only type. So think about that. So now pillar number 4 is absolutely critical, and especially in our demanding field. It's basically prioritizing mindfulness and your mental health. And I get it. See, if you're young in your early 20s, you may think that it's not a big deal. But look, I have experienced burnout firsthand. While I was working in a startup a few years back, I remember spending 6 months working late nights up to 3 a.m., working on weekends, and just absolutely crushing it. But what was the result? The result, I was incredibly burnt out, depressed. I lost the drive to do anything, and I absolutely hated looking at a screen. And it's very difficult to get out of that pit. The best way to not get there is to just avoid it. And I think just like last year, this year also, I want to make a conscious effort to prioritize my mental health, scheduling regular breaks. And trust me, even having 10 minutes of calmness before you start your work day where you can just sit and think about your day, it makes an absolute difference to how your day will go. And especially in the current climate, I understand there is a lot of anxiety among entry-level developers about whether the AI will take away their jobs, it will automate it, and software engineers are probably going to be one of the first waves that will be responsible. I want you to think of something that's where mindfulness comes in. While there are some things that you can control and there are some things you cannot control, it's really nice if you can focus on upskilling, making sure that you're learning new technologies and trying not to constantly worrying about something that you cannot control, right? And yeah, so for this year, I'm focusing on building my skill set and then staying present rather than getting lost in a hypothetical future scenario. And I think so should you. And always remember that AI is going to automate tasks, not judgment. And you have to become the person who connects the dot. There is a very nice quote I read on Twitter. I forgot who said it, but it said that AI is not going to replace you, but a person using AI will. So think about that. And finally, we are on pillar number 5. And I think this is the most important pillar, basically fueling your body for peak performance. And it has impact on all the 4 pillars that we discussed above. And this is especially true for our field of software engineering, which is one of the most sedentary field. And this is also true for other knowledge workers who basically sit at their desk, looking at a screen and typing away. The number of senior and principal software engineers who are there in their 30s and 40s that I know have the neck pain, back pain, and the wrist pain with carpal tunnel is just too damn high. So I think for this year as well, I'm just making a non-negotiable commitment of taking care of my health, which means that at least aiming for a 45 minutes every day exercise. And that exercise can be as simple as going for a brisk walk with my dog, to a more intense workout in the evening. And I have found that even a short burst of physical activity throughout the day can stimulate your mind and help you think better when you're solving problems. This is why one of the most popular advices like by software engineers is that if you are stuck solving a problem, go out, take a walk, come back like 10-15 minutes and you will absolutely solve the problem. It always helps. And fueling your body with nutritious food is as important as fueling it with knowledge. So you should think of your body as hardware and your mind as software. And as you know, if the hardware is not optimal and is not functioning well, the performance of software degrades very much. So I think this analogy will help you keeping things balanced and make sure that your body runs in an optimal fashion. So yeah, prioritize regular exercise and healthy eating habits, and it is one of the most key aspects of your productivity strategy. And there is a very nice 10-3-1 rule that I follow, which means that 10,000 steps daily, 3 strength sessions per week, and then maybe 1 mobility break every 90 minutes where you just get up from your chair, go for a walk, have some water and come back. And I think this is going to help you immensely, crushing your productivity targets for 2025. And yeah, here's a bonus tip for you. You can just mix and match some of these pillars I discussed. So one of the things I absolutely love doing it, like pairing learning with exercising. So whenever I'm going for a walk or I'm doing some cardio, I always pair it up with like one of the podcasts. Maybe it is from a Hidden Brain podcast, Lex Friedman, or any other podcast channels you follow. And that is a great way of pairing up exercise while you are burning calories, but also fueling your mind. And yeah, last month I discovered that Kubernetes edge caching strategies while burning 300 calories, and it was absolutely amazing. So there you have it. That was my personal blueprint for productivity for 2025. And these are the 5 core pillars I'm committed to. This is not just an abstract advice. This is based on my over a decade of experience from learning and the challenges that I have experienced. I truly believe that focusing on planning, continuous learning, creating mindfulness and physical health will not only just make you a really productive software engineer, but a much more happy and fulfilled human being, which is, I think, one of the most important things at the end of the day. And now I'm really curious to hear from you. What are some of your productivity strategies for being effective as a software engineer? Are you planning to pick up any new habits or any new approach in 2025? Share with me below and I'll try to get back to you with my own thoughts. And let's learn from each other. And if you find this video helpful, please drop us a like. It really helps the channel grow, and subscribe for more videos like this. And let's level up our engineering careers together in 2025. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.